around. It's been sociable, but not too demanding on anybody, which is good.
Isn't that something to say? It's been sociable.
Right.
How
Very
did the holiday
beautiful.
season
Yeah, no, one
go
of the
at
lovely things is that the kids and their friends, and we've also got some young student tenants because we have quite a big house. So they're around on and off, and their friends, and they all want to be with my wife and I. That's sort of, so it's a multi-generational household that is working in practice with no strains.
Oh my goodness, when I've looked at your profile, I
Right.
see a lot of young people, and yet here I've invited and pulled you in on something called Aspects of Aging, part
Sure.
of Aging Better Network. And it's like you just are multi-generational. Joan was, I'm going to let her talk about how things are as much as she wants to. Alipio, welcome. Now we've got California on. Is your audio happening too? Oh, not quite yet. I can see your mouth moving. So he's gonna work on that. Alipio, if you think, just go ahead and say hello or whatever if you think it's up and running. Damon, Seattle area. Is that where you were born, or is that where you've migrated to? Oops, and I lost your audio. I know we had it
Oh,
earlier.
sorry, I hit mute. Yeah, that's where I migrated to.
like-
I moved out here about 25 years ago, so
Oh.
I'm almost a native anymore. But yeah, I grew up in the Midwest in the Dakotas. So
Oh my goodness.
yep.
Yay. I can say without divulging anything that one of the people that I was privileged to be with for several years hired as a caregiver. It was so fun because even through the I'm just going to say the going deeper into that dementia area, we could still get some energy behind saying North Dakota. And I don't know if that's an accent from there or if that is. Oh, there you go.
It's a real thing.
I loved it. It was wonderful to get to know that area through this person during those years. So
yeah.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Good.
So did you have ice?
Did we have ice? No, we had a little bit of, for us out here in Seattle, we had snow last week. We had about 6 inches of snow. And then as it does here, it started raining like crazy. And we've had about 3 inches of rain since then. So now we went from that to flooding and record high tides. So along the ocean, there's people's houses flooding along the ocean now too. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks.
So we went over and saw the 25-foot waves, and it was just pouring rain. For the first time, I stayed in the car because I'm always a get out there person. I stayed in the car with the dog, and my husband's just out there, just soaking it in, and literally soaking it in. Every time he got back in the car, he was soaked. But I could see, at an angle, and I'm just going, that's so weird to see. I don't know, the distance between the white of this wave and the white of that wave, and realizing when you're down on the beach, the waves the ocean to me looks higher than where I am. But I think that was it. I think I was a little scared. The next day, the wind got up to 80 miles per hour. Alipio, how's it going yet? Not quite yet. When he does, he will. Joan, we talked on a different day. We got to know each other a little bit. And again, I was like, what is the same about all these people? Oh, they're smarter than I am. You're just, you have things that you've been involved in that I've only watched, with my nose pressed against the window going, is that how people do business? Is that what it's like to actually, have a medical degree? Joan, I would just love for you to tell about yourself and anything that you want to that we were talking about earlier, as far as Hanukkah and as far as your family that you would like to tell these wonderful gentlemen.
Well, I mean, what we had talked about last time was more having to do with the field of aging. I mean, that's what I want to spread the word about. And I'm a speech pathologist and an assistive technology specialist. So I started out in the mid 80s working in hospitals with people who have strokes and head injuries and degenerative conditions. And then it sort of morphed through the, many years that I've been doing this into helping people of all ages and abilities, especially older adults, leverage the benefits of technology. So that's what I'm really passionate about, just how to use phones and tablets and computers and Echo devices and all the smart assistants and a lot of things that a lot of younger people are using. They might not have an eye for the accessibility features, but I think that a lot of older adults have been totally left out of the picture. And I'm on a mission to try to find people to specialize in elder tech and to get tech concierges in places where seniors live so they can get support and just reap the benefits of all that technology has to offer.
It's not just an amenity. I mean, it's
an necessity.
The difference.
And they're just left out of society if they can't get online or have someone to help them do that.
Right. It isn't just for fun. It isn't just, oh, I don't need that. It's like, I've had the opportunity to meet people because I've been dragged by my ankle into technology because I was just classroom teacher. Once they got really techie, I was like, oh, I'm probably not their style anymore. It was great being hired in to be caregivers. Now I'm just, I literally had a gerontology. She does both. She's in California. Oh my goodness, Pepperdine. So a gerontology researcher goes, I'm learning how to use LinkedIn for what I'm putting out there. And she's the same thing. I hope I have introduced you to her. If I haven't, I will afterwards. So putting technology in front, literally placing things. She's doing the concierge thing and doing that as part of her research in gerontology. Plus, she used to be a classroom teacher, elementary. So she's straddling all this stuff. And she goes, I'm learning technology from watching you. And I thought, is that dangerous, or can I be one of those people that Joan is looking for, who's helping people in my age category? I'm 62.
Yeah, no, I've developed something I've labeled an elder tech advisor and teacher cohort. And I've had 75 professionals. So they're mostly special ed teachers or occupational therapists or technology folks, or just strong elder advocates who want to learn about tech that can help seniors. And a lot of it is the same tech that we use to help students in school who might have reading and writing problems. A lot of the features are built into these devices, and they're so engaging and fun and can keep your brain sharp, but people just don't realize that they exist. So, and I do free 15-minute phone calls. So if anybody goes to my website, that's innovativespeech.com, they can just click on Let's Chat. And I talk to many people each day. It just automatically populates into my free time in between my online tech coaching. And I talk to people for free, and I'm not a salesman type, and I just give them some ideas of what they might be able to try. If they want to hire me to be an online tech coach, I can definitely share screens and teach people, but not everybody can afford it. And so I'm trying to reach everybody. And I have a free webinar that's at theymaynotknow.com that people can. The last free webinar I did was all about my favorite tech tools to help aging adults. And that's still there. And I'll probably keep it there at least another month. So it's an hour of looking at tech to help seniors, which I think a lot of people have found helpful.
Tech helps people to learn more tech, or more of what they can use it for, to leverage what they're doing, what they're interested in, what they want to research, who they want to contact.
Mm-hmm.
So they may not know. Oh, did I say it right? You say it right.
Theymaynotknow.com. Because how do you know what you don't know? And how do you begin to learn when you have no clue what's available? So that's why I like that domain name, theymaynotknow.com. Or my website is innovativespeech.com, and there's a section for online learning, and it links to it also.
Oh, well, my gratefulness to my husband, who dragged me into technology by my ankle. He actually enticed me into it by saying, you could reach more people with your concept if, and it took a lot of doing. He could write a book.
Frustrated with it all. To me, it's just so much fun when I see something and then I can figure out a way to have it help other people. That just makes my day.
It's so much fun.
Like
I
a hobby.
love it.
But I've made it into my career, so it works out nicely for me.
Oh my goodness.
But I don't want to hog the whole session here. I want to hear from everybody else too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just thinking, Damon, you are very accustomed to online things, and yet I kept seeing you pop up on some of the things I was posting out or involved in, or we exchanged comments somewhere. And here you are, willing to come in as well. And I'm just going, what all is he involved in? I know that you do some interviews. Are they live stream like this? And just I don't know. Do you have a short way to say everything that you're involved in? Or do you like to just tell the one thing that you were doing this week you're excited about?
Well, what I do is really simple. I help business owners increase value, prepare for sell their businesses when they're ready. That's what we do. We don't do it like like someone that we're an as is, where is kind of sale. We're going to help you fix it up and get it so you can actually sell it. So that's what we do. We came out of that. We came out of the industry of running businesses for investors, but now we do it for private owners and help them do that. It comes from a passion of business, just loving business and loving to help people build businesses and do those things. The live streams I do, I live stream 4 times a week, and I do it a couple different formats, but it's just out of a loving to talk to interesting people and share their stories and information, because I learn from it, and other people learn from it, and helping them to really helping others benefit really is about what it is. And my personal goal is just to provide the most impact I can for life and business, people in life and business, because we're all in transition. People that are young don't realize it. I think as you age a little bit, it changes, and you kind of see the hourglass flips and the things change. But really the impact we can, and the legacy we can leave, or the imprint we can leave, if it's even infinitesimal, is important. And that's what I really love to be able to do, is to just help as many people. And I listened to Joan talk about it. It's like you can hear the passion in her voice about what she's trying to do. And that's what I think is fun about, we're here talking about aging, and man, I tell you, it's just so much fun for me getting older. Yeah. All the aches and pains and, multiple surgeries, all that good stuff is no good. But the fun part of working with people, working with younger people, working with older people, we're just helping to share and build community. And it's just the live streaming and the social media aspect is something that 5 years ago I would have never considered part of my life. And now when you get to do it, and so many great people that you get to meet, like us here today, or just in general, as you get to meet and build this community and these real friends, and lifelong relationships now, I believe. It's so cool. It's just cool. It's fun.
I want to travel. I want to meet everyone face to face. I've met some of that. My husband's been doing this sort of thing for almost 10 years.
Nice.
And he would say, got to say it right. He would say, if your business did not exist, what would the world or the community, what would your arena be missing out on? Making your whatever it is that you're doing significant, making an impact somewhere that maybe is a gap that no one else is touching, creating something that didn't exist before, or tweaking something for maybe people who are challenged by their aging. It may be technologically they're being challenged. It's like, man, I used to know all the stuff. I could repair things. I could put things together. It kind of reminds me of the day that my dad said, let's pop the hood. He had a habit of saying, how's the car running? It's doing great, Dad. Okay, I'll pop the hood and see. And when he popped the hood on a car that no longer, I'm going to say a carburetor, didn't have one of those in the middle, it was electronic. He popped it and he's like, close the lid. He was done. And I could see that everything that each of you are involved in, if it isn't accessible to people who are my age and beyond, that's a lot of people who are just missing out, who can't benefit from it, and also can't benefit you or can't benefit that community, that business with their, I could go on and on. I get excited about older people and what they bring in that you cannot bring in if you haven't had enough life experience. So, Alipio, how's it going?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so you've been in on aspects of aging before, and I wanted to say we never got to hear about your sporting, your sports. You used to qualify on a pretty high level in a sport, so don't let this time go by without talking about that. But I know that you're here for something something else healthy.
Yeah, well, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, I was passionate about windsurfing. And actually the story kind of really tells you who I am. I was taking my undergrad at UCLA. I was homeless at the time, living out of a car. And however, I decided I was not going to sleep in that car, and I asked people in my classes if I could just temporarily stay over. And I was proud to say in 10 weeks of winter academic quarter and finals week, I did not sleep in that car one day. But I had to go outside of myself because at that time I looked at myself as an introverted bookworm. So I just focused on the goal and I changed. So applying that, windsurfing was my outlet for that stressful time. And I was the worst student in my class. And within 6 months, I was teaching it. And 7 years later, I was a nationally ranked windsurfer. So that's kind of, I'm kind of like a Kobe type person. If I get into something, I have to master it. And to me, the definition of master is an objective piece of data that everybody says, yeah, you've mastered it, right? So it's interesting because once I got my national ranking, I lost all interest in competition. I left the sport. But getting back to the health and fitness and why I'm here as the anti-aging, I kind of stumbled into the anti-aging, I kind of call it rear ass backward, because essentially 2019, I was a type 2 diabetic on 6 medications. And at that time, the common wisdom was type 2 diabetes is a progressive disease. Medical speak for, we don't know how to cure it. All we can do is stabilize you. And I refuse to accept that, primarily because I also spent 29 years in software. And as anybody knows about computers, it's a cutthroat business because things change. The knowledge you have becomes obsolete within 10 years. So from that aspect, I just knew that there had to be a way. And I did the research. I found a doctor at the School of Medicine at the University of Southern California. I did the research. I developed my own protocol, and I reversed my type 2 diabetes and became medication free in 4 months and 6 days. So now being a software guy, I know what worked for me is not going to work for a lot of people, right? So I spent 3 years doing R&D. How can I systemize this so it can help as many people as possible? And so that's where I'm at now. I have been running an alpha test group since January 2021. I've helped women from 34 to 77 in terms of addressing illnesses. Some of the accomplishments I've had is I've had a middle-aged woman who suffered from 25 years of chronic pain from cervical bone spurs. I helped her do a fast where she became pain-free. I also helped a woman, 34, cure ulcerative colitis. And I've helped another woman basically arrest the progression of her hypothyroidism, and she's postmenopausal. So it's amazing how much the human body can cure itself if you know what levers to pull. Because one of the things in my background is I burned out of software after 29 years. I actually became a personal trainer for 5 years, working with, guess who? Stressed out business executives and business professionals who I used to be. And it's from that, that's pretty much who hires me, is extreme entrepreneurs and hard charging salespeople who have decided that they're going to make health their number one priority. Because with these people, they're knowledgeable, they're hard charging, but health is not their priority. As Damon knows, right? You know, when you're with these hard charging business owners, they will sacrifice their health because they got to reach their quarterly goals. So usually I even have one guy, he says, okay, I'm going to hire you, but I'm busy getting this nonprofit up and it's hunting season. I'll see you after hunting season. So, you know, knowledge and everything is not the issue. They understand is they hire me to be an accountability person. And because I'm a research geek, being a computer guy, they know they will get the latest from the medical studies, but more importantly, I show them how they can use it in their daily lives. As a guy who's implemented computer systems from big corporations, including Paramount Pictures, Parsons Corporation, to working with small companies, it really comes down is to giving people simple rules of thumb that they can apply in their daily lives and get immediate results. So then they can start building a track record of success and build that momentum. And one of the reasons I talk about this, in fact, I just did a Clubhouse event this morning, is that unfortunately for a long time, it was only the high income people that could afford personal trainers. That was one of the things that broke my heart, was not many people have $1,000 in the monthly discretionary income to pay to a personal trainer, right?
Right.
So the knowledge I had couldn't help the people that really needed me the most. So I've been trying, I spent 3 years doing R&D on my protocol. Now I'm got the knowledge, I work with the people, see what works. And now I'm applying that criteria to determine the right technology platform to create, to make it accessible to everybody. Okay, so because technology is really needed because it is the exponential factor that technology brings. And I've had discussions in Clubhouse, specifically, as you all know, we're losing nurses, we're losing doctors who are leaving the profession. Yeah. And technology has to come in to fill in the gaps. And Damon will resonate with this because obviously being a tech guy, I always have investors ask me, give me advice. And I always tell them the simple rule of thumb is choose a technology that empowers the individual the most. It's that self-empowerment technology that I've seen over decades in the industry that seems to catch fire and stay with people. At least that's been my experience. So getting back to my original purpose, as I said, I got a beta program I'm finally applying my protocol to, and I'm limiting it to 6 people. I already have 1 person signed up. I have a discovery interview next. So essentially, it's 4 to 6 weeks. It's basically, I'm only offering it for $99 in exchange for a testimonial and feedback, so that I can launch the signature program about 3 to 6 months down the line, which is, as we all know, we all have these really great aspirations for the new year, right? And then after 4 to 6 weeks, most people drop off.
Right.
And then that's when I'll talk to them, because as a computer guy, I'm interested in solving the underlying problem and not solving the symptom. And as a personal trainer, people were focused on losing weight, which is a symptom of an underlying health problem. If you fix the underlying health problem, usually the weight problem will go away. At least that's been my experience. So that's who I am. There you go.
Oh, okay. You all have 2 things in common. You're making me smarter. You're expanding my horizons. You're helping me to think beyond the 2 realms that I've had all my life. You're benefiting me in my own aging. Plus, each one of you have probably said the word helping people, helping them, getting this out to them, making it available, accessible. Jem, you have already said that your home is multi-generational.
Yeah, no, it is a multi-generational home, and
Yes.
that's my wife and I, and we've got PhD students, women who are studying at UCD, University College Dublin, which is the closest university to where we live.
Yes.
But there's a lot of coming and going. I mean, we've got children who live in Berlin, but they come home a lot, and they're home now, and their friends are around, and there's just a very good, it is actually talking about subjects that we're passionate about. And one of them is, as I age, and I suppose my friends who are my age, I have young friends too, this idea of sort of multi-generational living in different contexts and depending on circumstance. I think it is something that I advocate if it feels right, particularly where you have, here in Ireland, you might know there's a big housing issue,
Yes.
especially for younger people, not necessarily to buy. I mean, that's also a thing, just to find somewhere to live. And so it's a good idea, and it's something that's quite new and nascent here in Dublin, is sort of encouraging students to live with older people who are on their own and support them in not intrusive way. And it has been, I think these pilots have been very successful. But I'm very inspired just to hear why everybody's sort of backgrounds and interests, and so thank you for inviting me on the, on this for this event, because it's very, I mean, just very briefly in terms of my own, I suppose, my background. I mean, I left my business. I worked in international, for a big multinational, doing research, like strategic research consulting, as it's called, where basically clients, it's different from management consulting, so it's not a McKinsey or a Bain, but it's kind of the step before the management consultant, where clients will commission bespoke research in order to understand the trends in the markets where they work in. And I did a lot of work in Japan and Southeast Asia and and in sub-Saharan Africa in particular. So I was managing bespoke research and teams of analysts. But I left all that about 3 years ago. But before I left, I took up education as a mature student and did a couple of master's degrees here at UCD. And within that, I got interested in, I did one on public policy, and I did, again, trying to make it as brief as possible. I did a dissertation on the age-friendly cities and what an age-friendly city should look like or what it means. And I interviewed a lot of people in Dublin about accessibility and what an age-friendly city has to be inclusive of everybody. And I then got asked to do some teaching at University College Dublin and teaching undergraduates on a course that they asked me to do on disability. It was called Disability, Social Inclusion and Universal Design. So there was a lot of crossover with, teaching students about disability and all these. And sort of getting their heads away from, oh, this is something that happens when you're older, and sort of saying to them, look, there is disability, people who age with a disability, and that can be an intellectual disability from a very young age. That is different, I would say to my students, from acquiring a disability when you get older, which may or may not happen. And the sort of the siloing of those two things is, again, something that I sort of have been involved in my research, in my various things that I write about. So I lecture, but I also write, I interview mainly, but not only, academics, and about aging, about cognitive resilience, about having fun when you're older, because I really think fun is very, my wife is very, she's a psychologist, which I'm most definitely not, but she writes about the importance of fun in childhood. I'm at the other end of the spectrum. I'm 64, and I say, hey, fun is really important as you get older, and it can be playing an instrument. Whether you're good or bad is immaterial. It's about enjoying it and so on. So I write and post on LinkedIn. So if anyone's interested, my articles are on LinkedIn. And then I guess the last thing I do, which I found quite an education, is, and what everyone has said has kind of also triggered some thoughts about this in my own practice. I wanted to continue a little bit in a business role, and so but with aging, disability, and so on, to advise companies, services that want to market universal products for everyone, but also products with for accessibility. And again, to cut a long story short, I have been approached by a few companies. I can't actually name them for discretionary reasons, but they are really amazing, cheap products, particularly in the hospitality business. And I was trying to interest hotels, all kinds of tourism and hospitality services in Ireland for these very simple products to help their clients who have problems. I don't know, they need something to rest their cane, or they have issues in terms of just using certain things in a restaurant, all kinds of stuff. I did not get anywhere really with these companies, which kind of, and I can't speak obviously for the States, but I didn't. In Ireland, there is a big chasm between the rhetoric of inclusivity and actually getting businesses to invest even at the smallest level. I mean, I contacted a lot of hotels, leisure services at the high end, at the medium end, saying, look, I've got this will help your customers. They can rest their sticks. They can do this, they can do that. Nobody called me back or wrote back, and then I'd call again. Oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, people are very friendly because that's the nature of the Irish culture. I mean, no one is rude or brusque or anything, but it's, I found it very frustrating, but less about me, frustrated on behalf of, because again, a lot of these rhetorics of the tourist board of Ireland, that it's called Fulcher Island, where they say, come to Ireland, come and visit, come with your grandchild, they've seen potential in grandparents going with their grandchildren and taking them to Dublin and taking them all over and say, come with your grandmother, come with your granddad, do this, do that. But then a simple kind of approach for very small investments to even consider it. No, that. So I'm kind of in the new year that's sort of I suppose a challenge for myself is how do I bridge this gap between the rhetoric of inclusivity and actually getting, because it is mainly businesses, I think. I mean, the public sector, that's very difficult. A certain inclusive, accessible features are built into contracts and all the rest of it. But if you're talking about shopping centers, and sorry, I'm preaching to people who know all the, but a lot of the older people, they just want to go to the hip coffee shops that everybody else does and see, and hang out there. But they're incredibly difficult places to access. And the toilets are not fit for purpose and on. So it's I guess that's my challenge.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
One of the things of having been in computers for a long time is that I worked in a lot of industries.
Right.
And I was at Paramount Pictures. I was independent software vendor with Microsoft. So I learned a lot about marketing. And in terms of what you're saying, it recalls a Washington Post story that I read about, as you know, there was a big thing about changing police behavior because of certain brutality stories that got really popular.
Yeah.
However, the change didn't start happening until the insurance company stepped in and said, look, unless you start implementing the changes that are recommended by the federal government, we're going to raise your rates.
Right.
And you're going to lose a third of your workforce. So as we all know, unfortunately, it's human nature. We respond more to a threat than to a benefit. So I would suggest that you say, hey, find a competitor or another nation that are implementing this. Person you may want to talk to is Susie Bianco in Denmark. Christine knows her. She is a proponent for Silver Age technology. And she is one of the people that leads the entrepreneur review boards for the nation of Denmark. And she works a lot with the companies that you work with. And to me, at least from work at Paramount and Microsoft, is when they say that their bread and butter is probably going to be taken away by a competitor, that's when they're going to pay attention to you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just lip service. And I've seen this too with, you may have heard of it, neurodiversity programs they're trying to implement in companies. Well, the companies that are doing neurodiversity, they have to do it because they couldn't find enough software engineering talent. But my friend works in clinical trial support systems, and they're trying to reduce their employee turnover. But they need to do that link right down to the bottom line. As Damon knows, it's all about the numbers when you talk businesses. So either you do this, otherwise the business is going to be taken away from you, or you do this to either increase the number of customers or increase the actual sales transaction. So that's just my 2 cents. Hopefully it can help you.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly constructive. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, because I sort of, the other thing that I'm, very passionate about is accessible, or let's call it universal travel, universal tourism. It's not about pigeonholing someone with walking difficulties or hugely important, but it's about everybody. And I'll post an article in a few weeks about accessible Flanders in Belgium, and they're talking, and what they do there is astonishing, and they have thought it through conceptually, and the infrastructure and everything else. What an accessible experience! But the point with Flanders is it was about the commemoration of First World War sites, and the huge number of visitors that they had to plan for to visit the war fields of Flanders, and they were going, but all these people are really old, and how are we going to do this? And that's where it all started.
Jim, one thing that made me think about was that I'm near the Washington, D.C. area. I live in Maryland in the States.
Right.
And there was this beautiful hospital nearby that they put millions of dollars into. And I helped my very elderly parents, and I was taking one to the hospital. We were waiting for something, and we went to an accessible bathroom, and there's no automatic door.
No.
And they label it accessible bathroom. And I'm like, well, it's not very accessible.
No.
How can you even get through it if you don't have anyone to push you, if you're using, in a chair or a walker or whatever.
Yeah.
And I took it to the person at the top, and it hadn't even occurred to them that it wasn't accessible. So I think, that's one area of accessibility that really bothers me. But the other is there are a lot of accessibility features in technology that people don't know exist and don't take advantage of. So that's sort of the area that I'm focused on, is helping people leverage the benefits of what's already there. But Jem, what you're saying is just increasing awareness and trying to convince businesses that it's in their best interest to provide more accessibility to their clients is critical. I've been trying to do that to assisted living facilities and independent senior housing communities that they need to help people with tech. And they just don't see that that's anything that they need to offer. And I'm having trouble convincing them that they really need to invest in helping their residents access tech. And it's hard because they look at it as just a bill. Like, how are they going to fund it? Where are they going to have to pull the money from? And I say, well, maybe one less activity director, or that the activities person needs to be tech savvy and bring that into their job. But universal design is key. Whatever, it's in their best interest of businesses to create accessible things with universal design to benefit everybody, and their bottom dollar should improve. But they don't see it that way.
No, it's interesting. I'm relatively new to this. It's sort of just under 3 years. But it's quite interesting because I was interviewing this guy. He's a really big name here in Ireland and international as well. His name's Paudie Healy, and he's a sort of hospitality and tourism accessible guy. But in a nutshell, he was approached by a huge leisure hospitality hotel group, and they have golf courses all over Ireland, and they're very prestigious and credible, amazing hotel. But again, they said to Paudie, we've decided we want to be accessible. We want this and what Paudie, because I said to Paudie, what does accessible really look like within a travel organization? And he said to me, well, he told this group, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it from top to bottom, everything in the boardroom. He said, I'm not going to come here. I don't care what you pay me. If you want to, I'm not going to just come in and retrofit at some bathrooms, a restaurant. If you want to do it the way you say you want to do it, everything has to change, and not necessarily so expensive, but from the moment people try and come into the hotel, the reception area, everything, and on and on and on. And he said, yeah, they're actually doing it. They but he said it came from them, and they're very, very rare.
Have you written an article about that? Because to me, that's a credibility halo story.
Yeah, no, it is. I did interview Porty, and he wrote a lot of. He also sent a big summary, but what he gave to me was a bit generic. So I'm trying to just go back to him. He's very, very busy, and just do a full piece, because I sort of want to proselytize also a little bit too, and say, look, I mean, I'm partly disabled myself, and I only mention this because it does give me, and my mum was very disabled, and my sister and brother have this degenerative rheumatic thing that makes things difficult for us when they are barriers. So it is kind of, I've sort of lived it, I suppose, as well as proselytize it. And so I do want to, I think Ireland is a good place and a good case to get it to break the mold, I suppose, because it's quite a small place, but they are very, very dependent on tourism. And they also get quite a lot of older tourists, relatively speaking, and a lot, of course, from America who want to discover their Irish roots and all the rest of it. So I do want to try and make the change.
Yeah, that makes sense. You develop your proof of concept.
Yeah.
Then you have your credibility story, and then you can go to Israel, because what you were talking about recalled an incident. I was talking to my cousin and his wife is very obese, and she almost had a heart attack climbing the steps to one of the Christian things in Bethlehem.
Right.
And they actually had to hire a couple people to carry her up there.
Right. Well.
And to me, that's probably one of the most tourist-dependent nations in the world, Israel.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like you have the right approach. Also, wanted to make one comment in regards to the article that you're writing about Flanders. I would highlight the companies in Flanders that are focusing on accessibility.
Okay. Yeah.
So that will give your article a focus, and then you can hashtag it appropriately so it reaches the right audience.
That's very good advice. Thank you. Because I talked to Katrine, and she's, a very inspiring, accessible sort of she's embedded basically in Flanders tourism for accessibility. But it's, I mean, it's a huge area. So she's just one person. So,
okay, I have to run, people. I got a discovery interview for my beta group. So thank you for the invite, Christine. It's very nice meeting everybody, and hopefully I was able to help you out, Jim.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm grateful that you said, hey, can I come back? I want to talk about some of this. And you met you didn't know these other three people. Is that correct, Alipio?
No, but
I'm glad you all met each other.
Well, it's all about, we all have our areas of specialization, and we can help each other. It's all about the community. Because I can tell you, in running my clubhouse this morning, I had two people from my alpha test group, and we had the person I'm having the discovery interview with, and they were sharing their personal stories and what they got from, the protocol I've been advocating to them. And it helped convince the person to book the interview. So to me, I can only give, testimony from my own personal experience, but it's good to hear from other people who also have health issues, but their own specific health issues that are probably more relatable to a certain person.
Yeah.
So, it's all about community and sharing stories. And that's probably the final thing is Jim is focusing on those personal stories, because that's what we listen to. Because being the nerd that I am, I actually studied storytelling. I was a member of the Seattle Storytellers Guild, and I performed at Seattle Folklife and the Olympic Peninsula Storytelling Festival. So I am really a geek. So just from that experience, the more you can give those personal stories and trigger those emotions, the more likely you're going to be able to cause change.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So nice meeting you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alipio. Oh, yes. You know, if you can touch a person emotionally, some people have developed gear that you wear and things that you go through to understand what it's like to be a person dealing with any particular cognitive issues or neuropathy or whatever it is, to give that person an emotional connection. And that is possible on an individual level. How do you cause an entire corporation, an entire culture that is really embedded into youth and making everything look okay and good and there's no problem here, continue on with your day, citizens? How do you change them into, wow, let's let the entire light spectrum show here of Jem with, did you say rheumatoid?
Yeah, in my case, yeah, degenerative rheumatoid. Yeah.
Yes, you know, how do we open this up? And I'm talking to myself as much. I did not understand about celiac. It was too easy for me to forget to include snacks that weren't graham crackers for young children when one of the children had celiac. I was only with these children once a week. And now my sister has been diagnosed with all sorts of things. And it's a matter of let's keep her even away from having like flour in the air. Like, let's not even go into a bakery because parts per billion actually make a difference in her health and her comfort and her ability to digest and everything. And so emotionally, I have a different connection than I did when I had a group of kids and I'm all about all these different things going on. I'm comparing myself as a teacher to a corporation or a culture who's going, I've got so much going on. I can't think about this one little group. And so just to be able to open it up and give them that emotional attachment, or yes, you do know someone who's like that. You accommodate them because you see that as important. This is important too. This is crucial to what you're trying to accomplish here.
When you accommodate one person with a disability, often it's extremely helpful to many other people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Very good.
So often it can bring benefit. A lot of the tools, you know, maybe that were developed for people who are blind or deaf or who have to be in wheelchairs, just make life so much easier for everybody or for more subtle disabilities. You know, all the captioning that we have available these days, or the ability to make print larger, or I mean, there are just so many, or smart assistants. I always think in terms of technology, but just there's so many things. And then once these technologies that are built for people with very significant disabilities become more mainstream, a lot of the big companies, Microsoft and Google, they just build it into their operating systems. I mean, there's still some people that need more, but like the automatic door openers, you know, they're better for everybody, even if you're just carrying a bag. You know, they're helpful for everybody. And so I think businesses just need to be convinced of that, that it brings greater value to their business and might increase their revenue because people will choose to come to them.
And it helps people I'm just going to say, coming into adulthood, to see that accommodations are needed, that you can look beyond yourself and what you need or what's emotionally important to yourself, and to look outward and go, that's important too. And these people count too. And it isn't just to be able to get closer to see something entertaining or interesting, but to make it so that what's happening right here, we're using an accessibility. We have in this moment on this screen, on all of our screens, something that's been provided for accessibility, and what a change it's making for someone who is lonely, for someone who needs advice, for someone who maybe like Damon is looking for somebody to schedule into one of his 4. Do you have 4 live streams a week? Do I remember right, Damon?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, it's just everyone benefits, and it makes me, I keep saying smarter, but really it makes me more empathetic. It makes me stop thinking a box of graham crackers and everybody's fine. It just, I don't know, it enriches everyone to include everyone. You know, it better human beings, building better human beings. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think, Jim, in getting organizations to understand the importance of this, it does come down to the bottom line, right?
Yeah,
because when you look at that, okay, tourism especially, who has the most time, the most disposable income for travel? It's not the 35-year-old person that has 2 kids and you know, in the middle of their career. It's the people that are later in life that have more disposable. The kids are out, they can do this. I mean, and when you can make their experience better, and this is about in marketing or anything, niching down to the people that you really want to have in there for the long term. It's about making that experience for them better.
Yeah.
And it's just because being inclusive and having the accessibility that you need is part of that age group. I think, you know, if they're looking at it, just like there's resorts, you know, you can go to the resorts in the Bahamas that are made for 30-year-olds, right? And there's cruises. A lot of cruises are geared towards older people because the accessibility is a little bit easier. I think if people are really serious about tourism, you have to look at who has the dollars and how do we get more of them there. And if you're talking about a place like Ireland, that is a place where older people like to go. I mean, my wife's been there a couple of times. I've been there before. It's just, this is a place where you go. And like you said, the grandparents take your kids. If you want that, you have to build your experience around those people. And that requires technology and all the accessibility things. Otherwise you're missing out.
Yeah.
And I think they could come back and they could go, okay, what is our current guest makeup? And is that really what we want it to be?
Yeah.
And do those things. So I do have to run as well. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
everyone. It was great meeting you.
I'm privileged to have been on the same screen with you. This is so great. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, everyone. Have an awesome week.
You too.